My name is Hafiza Mohammed. I'm the founder of Youme Healthcare. We're a mental health company helping to solve the mental health crisis in the US. So, how it began in October of 2020, my son, who was 6 at the time, came to me and said, "Mommy, I feel like I want to kill myself." As a mom, I felt like a failure. I felt that even though I was an executive for the largest mental health company in the US, I had more than 2,000 therapists around me. I could not find care for my son. And the reason why, because of his disability, he had Medicaid. And my son is definitely not alone in this issue, being able to get the help that he needs because of his federally funded insurance. So 46 million children in the US are on federally funded insurance that need 20 million of them need access to mental health services. And when you think about like the issue, this market has doubled since May when the last CDC report came out, showing that more kids need access to mental health. And when you take a look at the provider shortage, less than 14% of providers accept that Medicaid insurance that my son would have desperately needed. So I wanted to make sure I solve the crisis on both ends. How do I bring more providers within the marketplace? And how can I partner to ensure that everyone has equal access to mental health services? So what I was able to identify as one of the gaps in regards to the mental health crisis is that every year there's more than 20,000 graduates that graduate every year. In order for them to get licensed, they have to work under supervision for additional 2 years. We have a great licensed individual. She's laughing because she knows how difficult it is to find that support. In addition, they have to pay out of pocket for that support. So what we do at Youme is that we make sure we provide a residency where they can, these individuals are licensed, they have their malpractice insurance. We make sure we provide that supervision, and in return, they're happy to get their hours seeing those kids who are usually left behind at Youme Healthcare. Because I like to tell everyone I'm a capitalist with a capital C. So when I launched this business last year, I wanted to make sure I found a way that we can cut costs and make sure that we're able to find the kids who actively need care. So we partner directly with schools, pediatricians, and inpatient hospitals to find those kids. One of the biggest pediatrician offices that we work with right now, you guys know John Hopkins in Maryland. So we see their patients, and in return, we provide care, we provide data back to them as well. A lot of talk about data in regards to the type of diagnosis that we're seeing. Just to let you know about the market size, the target market that we're going after is a $27 billion market. And that's just focusing on the kids who are in federally funded insurance. And there's nothing like free money, right? Like that's federally funded that we can get reimbursed as well from those children. The beauty about this is that I love that there's a market. There's a market that's been hot where there's in different companies that's entering the market for mental health. But what's the biggest difference between Youme Healthcare is that we provide equal access to all. So we accept Medicaid, we accept commercial insurance. So no matter who you are, we're going to make sure that we're able to see you at Youme Healthcare. Additionally, cultural humility is what we practice. I know there's a lot of talk around about cultural competence, but by the time I'm from the Virgin Islands, have a mom that's Christian, a dad that's Muslim. By the time I find someone that's culturally competent to handle my care, I will be in crisis. So I'm looking for someone who has that humility to know that no matter who I am or my background, my condition is my condition. And if you have that foundation, then anyone can have access to care. And we're so focused on providing equal access to care is that we utilize something called bibliotherapy, which is books and therapy as well. It's one of the first therapeutic that came out before you start seeing CBT. When we realized that our books was not representing the kids that we saw, what we did was that we started creating our own books. We started digitalizing them. And right now we receive funding from Pivotal Ventures, an incubation company funded by Melinda Gates, as well as Hope Lab, where we're building out this technology to make it digital. It's going to be one of the first mental health technologies that can access one book, can reach 1 million children. So we're in the process of developing that. Our launch is in November. So hopefully we can have everyone come and see how great the technology, when you put in your demographics, it automatically changes based on your character and who you are as a person. So really great technology that we're building out and that we're supportive. And when we think about from a business perspective, when you enter a market and you want to know how can you provide this demand, is this a real market? Since we launched in April of last year, we've delivered more than 350,000 in revenue, in top line revenue. 82% of our children see improvement by the fourth session. But my why and the most important factor for me was that we have saved 13 lives by being able to provide the mental health services. And these kids were ones who came in, they were actively suicidal, and they're still here with us today. And that's my main goal at Youme Healthcare, is that we can save lives and be able to reach the masses in mental health. Our business model, our average reimbursement is around 120 per session. Because we have a combination of, we have the residents, we're able to have a lower pay, which is around $50 average. We do medication as well. So we have psychiatrists and staff. So we're a one-stop shop for all different issues. Our goal is next year we can achieve $1.6 million in revenue. That's our target, because we were just running a trial to be able to work out the different kinks and the different issues that we see within the mental health space, so we can provide a product that can scale. All right, so with that, I would like to say my superpower, I would like to say, is like building strong teams. So I have an incredible team. Shannon Chemer just recently joined my team in July. She was the one who was at the last company I was with. She recruited more than 4,000 therapists within 2 years. And within 18 months, the company was able to achieve over $1 billion valuation. She did it there, and she's doing it here at Youme. So we're really excited to see the work that she's gonna do. We have a great team on marketing. We have exceptional individuals around, the Medicaid MD that helps work with us at Youme Healthcare. In regards to our raise, we're raising $2 million on a convertible note, a $9 million cap. We have already received 1.2 million, so we have 800,000 left. So we're looking forward to closing our round as well. And when I think about my team and why they're important. So this is just a little bit about our round and why we're raising. The most important part of Youme Healthcare is the lives that we're gonna save. These are children who lost their lives because of the crisis. We were not, that if Youme Healthcare were in their area, they will be here today. And with your help and your support, we can help save lives together at Youme Healthcare. And knowing that no matter who you are, where you're from, everyone deserves equal access to care. So that's me, Youme Healthcare in a nutshell. I just wanted to make sure I respected everyone's time. And you can always reach out to me on LinkedIn.
Yes. I study clinical psychology. I understand you have a doctor who is, expert on clinical psychology. But when it comes to these workers, it's good when they study the DSM-5 manual. Like, for example, when some kids have a depression, it could be that they might be bipolar or they might have borderline personality disorder. And these are two different diseases. And unless the worker has really the direct knowledge of a DSM-5 manual, you cannot give the right therapy. It must be just a general therapy. If I have my own kid and he has or she has, borderline or bipolar, I would require that my therapist has to have the right education to do my job. I will just not give it to nothing with whatever your company. Just a general therapist will do my job, because this is not so easy as you sound. It's a really big sensitive things, and usually doctors, they prescribe for the bipolar, serotonin stimulator, but when you take them more than 6 months, they have side effects that affect organs and everything. So as soon as you can, you should later try to come from the drugs to more natural therapy, like use supplements, herbs, different natural therapy, holistic therapy to treat it. So it's very important when you have these therapies, the doctor should be also clinical psychology therapists, but they should also use more therapies. But that's the best way now.
Yeah, so I'm definitely a fan of alternative medicines, and right now we're in crisis mode. So when you're in crisis, you run towards it. One thing that we do with our residents is every Saturday we get the entire team together because we're in a crisis. We have to face it. Our job is to save lives, and it provides support to every single provider. So if there's a provider you come in, you have 13, sometimes 15 eyes on your case as well. So we're not like a prescribed first, we're a self first. So I really appreciate that. And eventually we'll be able to evolve once we have more data into something more natural. But right now we're in crisis and we have to use what's available. What's your question?
Great offering. Thank you.
Yeah.
The outreach to the children, the books is great. So I have some investors to introduce you to for that.
Thank you.
But the digital outreach, can you talk a little bit about that? Is it phone-based or?
Yeah, so outreach is all via telehealth. We do have micro locations within the in pediatricians' offices, but those are only for emergency circumstances. So we haven't used them yet, but everything has been over telehealth.
So you look for telehealth partners?
Yeah, telehealth partners as well. So any pediatrician, they send a referral over, we connect, we sign them up, build the insurance, and we get reimbursed all over telehealth.
They look very young.
Yeah.
And they have suicidal thoughts. So that to me is abnormal. Is it parenting style? Like, what do you think, based on your experience with these children, is the root cause?
So based on the data that we have, like even though they might seem young, most times individuals who have suicidal ideations, they can start at a younger age, but they're not diagnosed until they're a lot older. So it's not saying that they're young, it's just that we're able to diagnose them sooner. But some data that we're seeing is that we do see parents. So if we notice that there's an issue within the household, then we will start therapy with the parents because we know it's a full cycle of care that's needed. So we also provide care to parents as needed. But as a young age, that's always been a myth. The crisis and the pandemic has showed that kids are suffering earlier, but now there's more action around it, and there's not as much what can I say? Like, people are more open to being able to know their child is in crisis, and that's why we're able to see it earlier.
I'll speak to that a little bit. I have a son, my oldest son, who was diagnosed with anxiety and depression at age 3. And it was because he was so articulate. At 14 months, he could talk in a couple sentences, and he could say what he was thinking, and he had these thoughts that, like, where did he come up with that? So it is absolutely a born with it sort of thing. I also have anxiety and depression, but what really led to his diagnosis was getting in with the right doctors to assess. It was all being triggered by the sensory issues. So he has sensory processing disorder, which exacerbated his everything is always on level 10 or 11 and made him feel exacerbated and depressive. So I think it's just new things like sensory processing disorder that's being assessed if it's on the autism spectrum. And what I've told my son is it gives you your superpowers. Thank God we're able to understand them and address them either through, it took medicine for a number of years, or now he's super into working out, and that's where he finds his health and his sanity.
Yeah. And I'll save questions for later because I know I want to respect set goes next. I have to definitely run out. So if you have any individual questions, one more, I'll take your question.
I just want to offer, I think, because your children all have issues, I have a very good friend who has technology.
Okay.
I'm sure he would be glad to give you for free, called Gather Voices. And on a mobile phone, you could have children tell you a story easily and aggregate them. So you could have professionals look at them from a video point, no cameraman, no nothing, to help get information, because we're doing this all over the world, and I'm sure my friend who has this technology would be very happy to give it to you for free.
Yeah, I'm always open to partnerships. It's a crisis and we can all solve it together.